Hi, I'm Don Bodan from SampleLibraryReview.com. Today we're going to do a quick look of the Phoenix Rise, Hit, and Whoosh Builder by Vir2 Instruments. This instrument is made for sound design, texture, atmospheres, basically hits, whooshes, risers, you got it. Library, it has an 8-layer engine. It's got 150 different presets. A bunch of hits, bunch of risers, bunch of whooshes. Plus, you can load any external wave or AIF files, and it's got 4 effects slots. It is a Kontakt player instrument compatible with the free version of Kontakt, loads right in your Libraries tab, and NKS compatible. Phoenix normally sells for $199.95. At the time of putting this video together, it's on a special intro offer for $149, which ends on November 19th, 2021. I'll include links, take you straight over to the instrument, first thing below. Alright, I've got the library up. You can see it's a Kontakt player instrument. I like this design. It's really nice. Graphically interesting. It's got one NKI, loads up in this big boy interface. Good amount of my real estate on my screen. And you can see here we've got a beat selector for how long our risers are going to take here. You can switch it over to seconds. A little bit to load up. You can see we've got a 4-layer engine for risers and a 4-layer engine for hits. The keyboard is divided up thusly. We got one key down here to trigger everything. Risers transition into hits. The next green key is just risers. Our purple keys will let us play through each of the modules separately. So we got the first one, riser to hit, the third, fourth, and so on. As we get to our yellow keys, now we play through just risers. And then blue keys up here play just the hits. And then finally, we've got another place to trigger everything. Whether you're playing that very top key in purple or that bottom key in orange. Now, first thoughts there. There's a lot going on with this engine, although it is very simple in that it executes in a way that you would assume it would, with being able to play all risers at once, all hits at once, risers and hits together for each unit. However, I think the developer could have used some better color coding. So for instance, this one, if it's yellow, then maybe the yellow key works that way. I don't know. That's just my first thought, because right now these colors don't mean anything to me visually as a user. So that's just a little UI critique off the bat. Let's dive in and listen to a bunch of presets and get a feel for what the instrument's all about. Alright, so the best way to get a little taste of this instrument, to preview it, is going to be to listen through some of the risers. I'll explain some more along the way. Let's just jump in and listen to a few of these on their own. I'm not going to talk for a little bit. So that just gives us a tiny taste of what's going on with the risers. You can see here we're able to either listen to risers or hits or select the samples for them with a category tag. So let's say we want to find a complex riser here. That one's pretty interesting. Let's double click that one now. So we should be able to just play that riser right here. Right. There we go. Now we can actually change our hit the same way. We could find a effects hit. Let's see. That's pretty nice. I like that one. Let's hear that whole one together there. You also have the ability to randomize everything with this little randomizer here. Another thing that I thought was really interesting, the way that this is set up, is the ability to go in and just quickly turn it into a whoosh. Or you could go back to a riser and hit. There's an edit function, so we can control the riser or the hits, high, low cutoff, volume, pan, pitch. And the other thing is with your riser, you could actually listen to the tail. Right now, the tail is just cutting off for the riser. Let's turn the hit off. Like that, but we were able to turn that tail on. Gives it a little bit of a reverb or effect. The other thing we can do is mirror it. Maybe we got to turn it on there. Now let's mirror it and have a look. There we go. Now we got the waveform for the riser playing up, then down. So you could see how you're able to go in with those samples and create all kinds of different versions of risers and hits. I like the tagging for these. And here we can see all the different samples. My critique about this area is I like this kind of browsing so much for the samples that I'm a little disappointed that we got to use the clunky, sometimes slow Contact preset browser when I've seen so many instruments that's easy to do this kind of tagging and actually load our presets up through this part. Moving on, you can see there's some modulator effects. Looks like all kinds of stuff here. Let's turn this down to slow it down a little to 1/8 notes. Able to put sequencing on for a high pass filter, low pass filter, or we could just pick and turn on a number of different effects here. Nope, and that's for Rise 1. So each of those rises and hits has its own effects, and then there's master effects too. All right, so that's a brief overview. There is one other thing that I was kind of excited to check out about that, and that's this little arrow on each side. We could load in our own Wooshes hits. We could just load up our own samples. So let's give that a try. I've got a it's kind of like a riser. I'm going to see how much I can manipulate it here. Okay, and then I got kind of like a boom hit. And I've got the offset here. I wish I could see where that offset line was. I think I'm able to drag this thing around a bit, but I can't change this ending. There we go. Alright, that's a lot of flanging going on, but I think we get the point. Able to drag in some of our own samples. If you've got samples from a developer that you really like, or other samples of your own, I think the real creative part of this is be able to use sequencers for your LFOs, your high-pass filters, and low-pass filters as well as pan. That could be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and listen to some of the hit presets. I'll just load up randomly a few of each, mute my mic so you can hear more of the sample sets. And then let's just check out a few of the risers, get a feel for these. All right, pretty interesting instrument. I think there's a lot of things that I like about it. There's a few critiques that I've openly said along the way about interface. The one thing I didn't mention here, which I will add another critique to my list here, tends to take a little time. It feels a little bit sluggish to get from one preset to the next. The samples, I can get through those and preview those very quickly, but the presets do tend to take a little while, it feels like, to get loaded up. And I'm wondering if the engine is referencing different samples depending on what the beats are, or if these are just massively high resolution samples because they're able to be stretched and moved around so much to tempo sync to your DAW. Either way, it's very flexible. It's got a nice range of whooshes, nice range of hits, and the risers are the real cream of this instrument. I think the risers rising from the ashes like a phoenix is what makes this thing pretty exciting. Who's this for? Well, obviously sound designers, those creating different textures, rising effects, hits, things to happen cinematically to the screen, or for those creating trailers who want to have a bit more of a larger palette of cinematic hits. Risers, and of course, is Wooshes. However, I really wish that Phoenix would have included wave files with this. I think there are those of us who just love to be able to work quickly, grabbing hits, whooshes in the DAW, moving them around, and not necessarily needing to use modular effects, sequencing, and things like that within an instrument. So that may be something that holds some users back from grabbing the library. As a contact player instrument, it's an easy entry point for those without the full paid version of Contact to be able to grab an instrument with a nice selection of rise, hits, and whooshes. It is pretty well thought out, and the ability to load your own samples in really makes it an extraordinary little machine. I didn't test out the randomizing, but that might be where a lot of us will get the most out of the instrument. Maybe quickly loading in all kinds of different sample combinations that maybe we wouldn't have thought of, and discovering some gems. Those are just some of my thoughts about Phoenix in this quick look video, but I'd love to hear yours. Please comment below. Is this something you're going to be grabbing? Is this something you were interested in when you saw the release information? Please comment in the description below and let me know your thoughts. Your comments help guide the channel and help me decide what to continue to review to share with you. Thanks so much for spending a little time with me here today. Please like, share, or subscribe if you're not already, and head back around to the channel on Fridays for our weekly Deal Compressor show.